What is up, everybody? So, this is episode 7 of Tunes and Collections featuring David Bowers from Psycho Psycho. The band I was in, I actually played a show with them one time at the Soundbox Tavern in Simpsonville. What's it called now? Because it changes names every 5 years. It's one of those
Yeah,
places.
it's man, is it even a music venue right
I
now?
don't even know.
I
I've
don't
not.
think it's a music venue right now, but
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's not really many places to play out in Simpsonville.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What's up, Beefit? How are you doing today? How's it going in New Zealand? Diamond Princess, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. So he has what he told me is a comic book collection, but he's also just mainly a key collector. You don't collect like runs or anything, just keys.
Yeah, I don't do runs. Well, I mean, I pull. I have a pull, so I mean, I guess I get runs, but like I'm not one of those guys that's out there like trying to do
What's up, K-pop?
the OG Amazing Spider-Man run from start to finish, or OG X-Men run from start to finish, or anything like that.
You were lucky. You were lucky. I mean, well, your books are. I mean, it's going to be expensive either way, but if I didn't have filler.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of space too.
Yeah, that's true. That's yeah.
Yeah, no,
True.
I mean even just pulling my poles, it fills up fast. But
Yeah.
key collector for sure. I mean, I've always just been like super into the allure of having these books. I would go visit people who were also like in the hobby because when I started out, I was just reading mainly X-Men and Spider-Man. Those are always like my top two, like what do you call franchises, I guess. But X-Men I was pulling, and I would love these characters, especially like Colossus and Nightcrawler. Wolverine always like really stood out to me, and I would talk to people and they would be like, "Yeah, I got the first appearance of those characters," and I was like, "What do you mean the first appearance?" I mean, I guess I knew it had to be a thing, it got to be in a book for the first time, but I was young enough that I just kind of always thought about them as being there, like didn't know that there was a couple X-Men and then more get added. Now there's like legitimately
Hey,
600
Glenn,
X-Men,
what's up?
What's up, man? But he was like, yeah, no, keys are awesome. And so I decided I wanted to get into that. And this was probably like 2011, 2012, even earlier than that.
That's when I started. That's when I
Yeah.
originally started.
Yeah. And I did the thing that nobody should ever do. You start thinking like, oh, I can't get this book where that I want that this character's in, and you just start buying like cool variants and like constantly looking what is this variant going for and stuff like that. I would not go back and do it that way. I would save money and go for the books that I really want. But nowadays, I'll show you some cool stuff I've collected over the years and some pretty embarrassing stuff I've collected over the years too.
All right, well, tell everybody what you got going on music wise.
Yeah, so like Tyler said, I play guitars and sing and scream in a weird pop punk, hardcore metal at times band called Psycho Psycho. Um, right now, we're just kind of keeping our heads down and pushing forward. We just played a whole bunch of shows. Went into Georgia for the first time, which is cool. We'd never been into Georgia. Went there twice. Sweet shows. Place called Sweetwater Tavern down in Duluth. Cool venue. Check them out. But we also just played probably the coolest show I've ever played in my life, man. Sold out on a Wednesday night, opening up for Agent Orange,
Oh, really?
legendary surf band. Yeah,
Oh,
that was a crazy show. We riled them up. We had a circle pit, whole 9 yards. It was
if any of the low grades were here, they'd be freaking out right now.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. It was definitely a sick show, and got to meet the guys and everything. Um, but other than that, we're working on. We kind of had like a work ethic issue for a long time. We made these songs and we never released them. We ended up releasing them, but they're part of our live set for like straight 5 years, right? But they've never been released, or we would release them before we really knew what we were doing recording wise, and you
Yeah.
almost just want to purge them from the internet and get the good ones out. That's what we're doing. Last October 31st, we released an EP. It's on Spotify. Check it out. It has 4 songs on it. Most of them have been in our live set for a while. It was originally planned to be one album, but we just ended up not wanting to handle it that way. So we released 4 last year, and the remaining 4 are coming out in a couple of weeks. Kind of putting some final touches on art and all of that, but they'll be out very, very soon. Maybe even within the week. But they're songs that have been in our set for a while. 3 of them have been released before, but it was years ago. I mean, not even the same band lineup, and they're out there. You could find them, but they're not good. These are good. These are well done by in-house by our producer Ryan Lara. He's also a guitar player in the band. He's amazing. He works magic. We do it all in-house now, and that's what else? That's probably it for what we've got going on right now. Booking shows and
What's up, Dope? How are you doing?
just keeping it going.
All right. Well, we're going to play a track, a live track that you've got loaded up that you can find here on YouTube. So we're going to play it. Hold on 1 second. Get this out of the way. All right. So we're going to play this, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to see some key issues and what he's got in his collection. So let me just do this.
Hell yeah.
All right. So y'all go check that out. I got the link in the chat for the Facebook page. You can go check it out. He's also said that they're on Spotify. So
Yep.
there you go. You
Psycho
can check them out on
Psycho
Spotify.
Spotify.
Let's see what we got. What is Kyle saying here? Silky sounds of South Carolina mullet. Here,
That's good.
my radio station would have play so many different genres of music. It wouldn't even be funny. It wouldn't even be fair to the other radio stations because I was just playing all the good stuff. So, all right, let's swap the view around here. Let's make you big and let you show your collection that you have.
Yeah, I brought a bunch of books. I don't know if I'll show them all, but we'll show definitely the good ones. I'm gonna start it out. This is the coolest book you'll ever see. This is the most punk rock book in the world right here. This is. Oh, he wants to know about the Gibson Melody Maker.
Dope is also into like me.
Okay.
He's also into guitars. So
all right,
yeah,
so I will before I jump in, I will talk about that. That's a cool guitar. I got the guitar when I graduated high school because I was poor and wanted a Gibson. I was like, I need a Gibson. I got like $500 for graduation. It was like just enough to buy that guitar. Probably that would have been 2009. I bought that bad boy. They at the time come with a single coil pickup that just doesn't sound good at all. Hated the way it was set up, but it was a Gibson, right? So I was stoked because like when you're in high school, like you just want a Gibson guitar if you play guitar. Is how it works. And I had it for a couple years and wasn't really stoked on it. Like really didn't play it very much. And then in like college, I like really got back into it. But I decided like I wanted that thing to just scream, right? And with that single coil, it was never going to happen. So I actually bought like a Soap Bar dog ear P90 double coil. It would never fit in that guitar, right? And I took it over to like Eastside Guitars. If you're from Greenville, Eastside does good work. But I took it over there and I said, I don't care what you have to do. Put this pickup in that guitar. And he's like, dude, it doesn't fit. And I said, but I need you to make it fit. I'll pay what you need to. And he's like, I'm going to have to dig out and ruin this guitar. I was like, you're not ruining it. Do it. So he routed it out. He put it in there. And he's like, it's too powerful for the guitar. I was like, you're missing the point. You cannot play that guitar clean anymore. If it's on a clean channel, it's distorted. And if you put it on a distorted channel, it's just nasty. And for years, that was my main stage guitar. I mean, I'm playing punk and hardcore. I want it to be filthy, and it is. Like that's kind of like one of the things we do in our music is we juxtapose. Like I do a lot of clean vocals, a lot of like really high register clean vocals, but the guitars are kind of filthy. That probably comes a little bit from like some metalcore stuff I was into back in the day, but. Yeah, that's the story of that Melody Maker. I still have it, and it's definitely like I've my music is mostly flipping that right hand back and forth as fast as I possibly can for 2-3 minutes at a time. And where that video that you saw is like maybe 6 months old, so it's pretty accurate. But the back of the neck no longer has any white on it; it's completely gone. And where I pick, where I strum, I should say. There's like a nice swoosh where all the paint's gone off of it. It gives it a cool look. I don't play it live anymore because in the last 6 months or so I've bought a Les Paul that I really really like. But that Melody Maker comes to every show, and if I break a string or anything like that, that's the one that gets pulled out of the bag. And I have another one too that's yellow. It has 2 P90s in it, and it's even more disgusting. But it's a cool little piece as well. They're both the 1950s reissues. They're both basically the same guitar, but one's TV yellow. They only made them like that for 1 year. It's kind of a rarity. I paid I think those things retailed for like $400 when they came straight out, but they've kind of become a collector's item. I think I paid like $800 for the yellow one, but I had to have it because yellow X-Men, whole 9 yards, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the story of the Melody Maker. That's a cool question. Thanks for asking that.
There you go, Dope.
Well, I'm gonna jump into some books, man.
Go for it.
So, like I was saying, you'll never find a more punk rock book than Walt Disney's Donald Duck number 46 from 1956. Right? I'm gonna pull this thing out. People are gonna freak out that I'm doing this, but I'm gonna pull this thing out and show this thing to you. It is in really horrible condition. The foxing on the back is insane. That is a hole. It's not just a rub.
Oh yeah. Well,
Page is barely on, as I can look
oh
at you
wow.
through it. Okay, so there's a cool story behind this. This is why I bring it. This book came out in 1956. It's probably the oldest book I own because I don't really have very much Golden Age stuff at all. My grandfather bought a house that used to be a parsonage for a church, and he was doing some reno maybe like 2 years ago, and he knocks out a wall and he finds something in there, and this book is sitting inside of the wall void of this wall, folded over and over like that, and wrapped in saran wrap. And who knows how long it's been there? I mean, it came out in 1956, and that church was active in the 60s. So I have to think. I don't know why it was done, because it's a really bad way to preserve a book if you're trying to preserve it. But also, like, what logical reason can you come up with to put a to put a book in a wall void that you fold up and wrap in saran wrap to try and like preserve it? Like, I have no idea what could be going on with that, but that's probably like the most interesting from a story perspective book in my collection. And my
I was
grandfather
about to
just
say maybe a guy was like who was building it was eating his lunch that day and he was reading his book. He got done with it and he took the saran wrap, wrapped it around the book, and just put it in the wall.
yeah, the grown man reading Donald Duck. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that book actually, I read it recently just for the heck of it. And you know how you know how books back then have like bizarre onomatopoeias in them.
yeah.
There's an onomatopoeia that pops up several times in that book that is just the word titty, and like there's like a couple panels where you just see Donald Duck like getting hit with like the word titty behind him. It's a really weird book, but I love that book. Oh man. Um, I'll fly through a couple of these, but I think these are cool. Amazing Spider-Man 607. This is a classic Black Cat on the Diamonds wearing the Spider-Man 90. I like this book. I've always liked this book. This is a really clean copy. Tyler, you telling me you have this book too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool book.
It's literally it was one of the first books that I ever spent like over like $5 or $10 for, because like it was like the hot book to have at the time. What's up, hippie? How are you doing?
Oh, they said he might have been using it to plug up a hole. Recently found an Action 1 being used as insulation between walls. Oh yeah, I mean like a .5 Action 1 is gonna be several hundred K. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
Still, I'd love to find that. Did you see the famous the staples that had been removed from an Action 1 were being sold for $400,
no.
so that somebody could use them to potentially restore another Action 1 with original staples from an Action 1, so they could get the like non-purple label or whatever. Yeah, $400, pretty crazy. It's sold too. Like, it's not just one of those things that got put up there. It's sold.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll never run an Action 1, and actually, it's weird enough. It's not a book that's on my list. Like, I mean, if I found it,
they just came out with a facsimile.
yeah, I think I have a
I
reprint. I definitely have a reprint.
I was like, this is the only way I'll ever be able to get this book.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, you never know. You find it in somebody's attic, and you scam them. You don't tell them what it is, and then you don't sleep right for the rest of your life. But you got the book. Yeah, I have a reprint of AF-15 for the same reason. But yeah. But I'm not really a big Superman fan, and not really oh god, it's a staple of the community. Excellent pun.
Yeah, Glenn's gonna do that from time to time.
Yeah, right on. New characters. These are characters I don't really like too much, but they're going to be big one day, right? So I do have a first Riri Williams. I like the Mary Jane cover. I'm a big fan of Mary Jane.
Me too.
Yeah, so I like the Mary Jane cover. I actually was picking this up when it came out, so I paid $3 for that. That was actually just part of my pull at the time.
Yep.
Which is nice.
We get lucky like that sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple. We'll talk about a couple in here that are worth big money that I paid next to nothing for, but most of them I actually paid what they're worth at the time that I bought them. I paid what they're worth. Here's an X Factor 6 classic X-Men cover with the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I think I paid $50 for that back in the day. Not too bad, but Apocalypse is hands down like one of the coolest X-Men villains there is. It was definitely a goal of mine back in the day to just own the first appearance of every X-Man. Like if you just were pull up a list of all roster members at any point in time. And I'm really OCD about that. So like Spider-Man's been on there, right? So like great, now I have to get AF-15, or like good luck trying to find a Namor first appearance, the one that's like Funny Books Weekly or whatever that
or something like that. It's like from the 40s.
Yeah, so I abandoned that, but I do have a bunch of X-Men first appearances. I have a lot in low grade that I didn't bring that are just raw low grade books when I was just trying to snatch them up as much as I could. But here's another cool book with a cool story. Man, I was watching your villain first appearance books video before I came on to get hyped for the show, and you showed 361.
Mm-hmm.
You got the newsstand. I don't, so that's lame. But this is a really great copy. But this book is on fire now. This is a super expensive book.
Yeah.
This one has really clean corners. I need to have it graded. I actually really do think this would come back.
It's actually been starting to drop way far back down.
Has it?
It's not where it was, where it used to be, where you could. I think my first copy I ever owned, I picked up for like $80.
Oh, dude, I paid $50 for that one. I paid $50.
Like something like that. They'll probably never go back down that low, but they're way down now. And I feel bad for people who paid $1,000 for that book.
Yeah, Motion Pictures Funny Weekly. That's Namor. Good call out. Here you go, right here. You said you had 361, but you were going to get you a 300 somewhere in the year.
Yeah, 300.
So I got one.
This present myself.
So check this one out. So this one I got in probably 2015. Okay. So prior to the first Venom movie, I paid next to nothing for it, dude. Like literally, I paid $40 for this.
What?
$40 for this. I haven't sent it to CGC, and there's only one reason. Because right now, even this book, if you got like a 5 or a 6, it's worth grading. It's gonna sell.
Yeah,
it's worth grading. But I'm afraid. I don't know if you can tell.
You're afraid of what it's going to get graded?
No, I'm afraid that it's going to get purple labeled. Do you see that at the top where that special 25th anniversary? I'm worried it's been cut, and I've asked several people, and they haven't been able to definitively tell me.
Because it did look weird when I saw it, so I immediately was like, it looks like it's been cut.
See, here's the thing. If you pull up a picture on Google, you will find a wide range of what this cover is supposed to look like. There are some where you can see a couple millimeters of red above a yellow box, and there are some where it comes down into the yellow box. There's some where there's just like a lot of red 300 print on top of the yellow box, and I never can tell whether or not mine's been trimmed or if it's just poor quality control from the 90s, or the 80s, I guess. You know what I mean?
It could be either. There'd be no way to know. Well, I mean, you could look at it and probably guess. But
yeah, and I'm afraid I send it in and it gets purple labeled, and like it's potentially like not restored, not trimmed, but it would just looks too close and get purple labeled. I don't know. For now, it's staying raw. And when people say, "Man, I really want a 300," I go, "Hey, I got one, and I paid $40 for it." But it's not a super nice copy. It says measured against another book from the same timeline. You're talking about to see if the like the literal length of the book top to bottom
any different. Yeah,
that's a good point. What year did that book come out?
Late 80s.
Using annual.
Yeah, I have some annuals from that age.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. That's a good piece of advice. I appreciate that, Kyle. Another book. I'm switching gears. You a big Walking Dead fan or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm collecting the original run.
Okay.
The black and white ones.
Got 6. Death of Shane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is an early Walking Dead. I paid 140 euros for this. It came from France.
eBay.
Actually, even better. My sister studied abroad in France
What?
a
Oh,
year, and
yeah.
she walked into a comic book shop and saw it and sent me a picture. And I said, "Yeah, yeah, just buy it. I'll give you the money when you get back." And she did, and it's a pretty good looking copy. But I probably got this probably 10 years ago. 140 euros is a good price at the time. I love the original first six or so issues before they changed artists or art styles
Yeah.
when it looks completely different. And the death of Shane is a big moment. Keeping on with The Walking Dead, we got Death of Shane and I got Death of Glenn, first Negan, first Lucille. This is
Yeah.
a San Diego Comic Con exclusive variant, um, and it is signed by Kirkman. I One day I'm going to send this into CBCS. I don't really like CBCS books. I'm one of those people that they say is bad for the community, that is a CGC purist, but it is what it is. I like the way it looks better. But I'm going to have this sent to them to avoid getting
Yeah, because
that
we get
green
a
label.
green label the other way.
Green label. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can specify that you want the blue label, but your grade, it gets taken into consideration as marker on cover. So like that's your choice. You can send in and get a blue label still, just like you can get a blue label Hulk 181 without the Marvel value stamp. You just have to accept them taking that hit to the grade for a piece being cut out, but you still get the blue label. So when you look on eBay and for Hulk 181s in low grade and they say blue label, you have to read the notes to see if that coupon is still, or Marvel value stamp is still in there. It's a little trick. Speaking of Wolverine, Incredible Hulk 340, classic
Oh,
McFarlane cover.
yeah.
Love this guy. This book has gotten big because the first couple appearances of Wolverine are way out of reach for a lot of people, um, and so this one has kind of become like a backup key, I guess you would call it, and it is already a classic. Um, but I think I paid $40 for this at South Carolina Comic Con maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Cool book though. It's now it's worth a lot more money. I need to get it graded. I think Kyle was saying something about Robert Kirkman's signatures a second ago. I
Said he
said
signed, I said no to sign first issues and some original doodles from Robert Kirkman, as I never saw Into Zombies while he was trying to peddle it out
no.
upon
Okay,
release.
gotcha.
Before it was a hit. No regrets.
I would love a Walking Dead #1.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm not willing to pay for it, but I would love to just
I
find
was about
one.
to say I'm getting I know I'm gonna get one of the Image First, like the cheap ones or whatever. I
Oh,
ordered
I have one of those. I have like the dollar. What do they call them? It's like the ones that Image puts out for $1 to get you into the
Image
series.
First.
Image First. Okay,
Yeah,
I have
I've
that
got
one.
the Ice Cream Man one too.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't read that series, but everybody's talking
That
up.
series is incredible. You would love those books. I can go
Definitely
ahead and
big
give you
horror
those.
stuff.
Oh, it's so sick and twisted. It's not just like jump scares and scary monsters. It's like real life stuff that's terrifying.
Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of like Twilight Zone-ish.
that's cool. Um, I'm gonna keep the Wolverine train going here, but I'm gonna hold it for a second while I find something. Think it's on this page. Not to have too much dead air, but it's worth showing. Yeah, there it is. So 180.
Yeah.
First appearance Wolverine. Value stamp intact.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is a cool book. I had a friend when I was in grad school. I had a friend who would just buy lots and resell them. He didn't collect, but he knew how to make money because he just knew the keys. But he didn't care whatsoever. We were friends, and he texted me and he said, "Hey, I just got a Hulk 180. You want it?" And I said, "Sure. How much you want for it?" He goes, "I have no ability to grade comics. I don't really know what it's worth. I just know it's a key. How does $45 sound?" And I said, "Yeah, $45 for Hulk 180. All day, every day. I'm taking that. No regrets. It's definitely like a
Mhm.
couple $100 book in a low grade now. Mine's probably mid grade. Still no 181. Never been able to make it happen. In fact, funny story. I was drunk in a bar one time and bought a Hulk 181 on eBay for $4,000 and returned it.
Nice.
I returned it,
Of
and the thing
course,
was,
yeah.
like, it wouldn't have been a super big problem. I actually had logically reasoned through it. I had the spare cash. I had been saving, but I was about to try and buy a house, and I ended up returning it and buying the house, which is where I'm in now. So it's probably the right call. But now
Probably.
I can't touch the 181 for what I had. I mean, that was a 5.5 for like $3,600. Nowadays, like you could get maybe like a 3 for $3,600. So that's a downer. But I'll get it eventually, you know. Here is another Silver Age key. I haven't showed any DC books yet, have I?
Mm-mm.
I have very few. I have very few properties of DC that I really care about too much. I like Batman. Obviously,
Yeah.
everybody likes
I
Batman. I mean,
Man.
like, oh, I like Batman. Yeah, of course you do, bud. Um, I don't really read his stuff. I've read a couple runs here and there. I've read some of the classic stories, but I don't pull Batman. I love Batman movies and shows and stuff like that, but I don't really read. The one exception is I really like Batgirl as a character, especially like the New 52 Gail Simone run
Mm-hmm.
up until I don't like the Batgirl at Burnside run very much, but here's a first Batgirl Detect 359. This is just a cool cover. I think this is probably one of the coolest DC covers of all time. I like that like lavender background with her up front kind of thing. Um, I actually haven't read this book, but I've looked up a synopsis of like what goes on in it. And it's a really weird story. Like it's like kind of cosplay before there's cosplay. She's going to a costume party as Batman and gets like mugged and fights the criminals or something like that. It's a pretty cool, interesting little setup for a book. But that's the only DC key I have in my collection. Um,
I was about to
okay,
say, DC keys are actually they're actually, if you look at like the major DC keys, that you can usually get stuff like that cheaper than you could the Marvel stuff. It's just
yeah,
harder to find, maybe.
yeah. Well, there's an interesting thing going on that I won't get too hung up on, but the blue chip DC, Superman, Batman, Robin, Joker, Catwoman, their first appearances are like way more valued than like I would say Cap, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Spider Man, X Men, like but because they're much older, right? But the minor like villains like Scarecrow and Riddler and all of them, I think they are cheaper than the
Mm-hmm.
same tier of Marvel characters, if that makes sense. And it's absolutely because of just the way that MCU pops as a not even just a franchise, but just as like a cultural event right now.
Yeah.
Um, Big X-Men collector, big fan. Here's an X-Men 129, first appearance of Kitty Pryde, Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw. Um, this one, if you can see, is actually signed by Stan Lee.
Oh.
Um, yeah, so this is has a certificate of authenticity, all that kind of thing.
What?
Big fan of this book in general. I have two copies of this book. One is signed by Chris Claremont, and the other one is signed by Stan Lee. Unfortunately, they're not both signed on the same book, but this one I wasn't able to get CGC'd. I will eventually send this into CBCS just for the Stan the Man signature
Yeah.
alone. It's weird. He
I
didn't
was
have
thinking.
anything to do with this book, but he started the X-Men, right?
He would sign anything.
Oh yeah, no
If
doubt.
if you handed him something just that was related to Marvel, didn't matter what it was, he would sign it.
I actually bought that signed as well. I didn't meet him, unfortunately. I met Chris Claremont and had him sign several books, but I never met Stan. And so I would love to have a book that he actually was on. I have some Stan books that I would have gotten signed, but I bought it because that's one of my favorite keys of all time. I'm a huge Emma Frost fan. She's probably one of the coolest X-Men there is, as far
Mhm.
as like story and just the way she's woven in and out of different um, lives and events. She's really cool. Keeping the X-Men thing alive, I'm gonna go New Mutants '98,
Oh,
the
nice.
first Deadpool, um,
What's up,
kind of
Kenneth?
first Domino. I don't know. Some people don't accept that as first Domino, but it's the first like mention of Domino, right? It's copycat.
Something like
Uh,
that. Yeah, it's
I
copycat.
love I love this book. This cover art is equally cool and equally atrocious. Everybody's analyzed this to hell and back, but like, where's that knife coming from? Where's he holding it? What's up with the feet? How are his legs as long as the rest of his entire body? Like,
Yeah,
terrible, but really
this
cool in
is
its own
staring at
way,
you.
right? That's Liefeld for you. What are you gonna do? I got this book at Borderlands. Shout out Borderlands. I walked in and Impulse bought this book.
I
I
bought
Impulse
quite a few
books.
books from Borderlands.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
probably about to buy my ASM 300 from Borderlands because they have one up there, and it looked really nice. And I was like, that's close. That's close.
Mm,
Maybe I can talk them down a little.
okay, all right. I was there today and didn't see that if it was in the glass case.
Oh man, they probably sold it then.
Yeah, they had what's the one?
Well, they are moving stuff to the new location.
That's
So
true. Is it 301 that's the same but with the white cover, or is it 299?
I think that's 301.
301. They had a
301.
301, but they didn't have 300 today.
I do need
Um,
301 as well.
I walked into the shop and they actually were about to pull that and decide not to sell that and send that to CGC, and because they thought it could be a 9.8, and I said, well, it's still on the wall. I want to buy it. They were like, golly, and they sold it to me, $300.
Yeah.
Um, and it's worth a lot more than that now. So, um, good book. All right, this is probably my most recent big pickup. Like I said, sucker for old X-Men keys. This is one of the coolest covers to exist in all of comics. This is X-Men 14, first appearance to the Sentinels.
Oh, that's a nice copy.
Yeah, it's probably a 5, I would say. But I got a good deal on this one. I will be submitting that to CGC. I just got it a little bit too recently. Do you have a pull at Borderlands?
No, I have one through Atomic Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having that pull at Borderlands, they give you 10% off of even big keys. Like I've gotten over $100 off of keys just
When
for
I
having
did
that
have a
pull.
pull, I had one at Richards, and Richards is the same way. Like, because they count the wall keys as like, A, they expect you to haggle with them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And B, they count wall keys, I think, as back issues, and you get like some off of them. So,
oh, I'm gonna readjust here. My back is killing me. This is my last Raw book, and then I'm gonna get into slabs. This is a character that I took a chance on a decade ago. There was this this new African American character that everybody was pretty up in arms about them changing the race of Spider-Man. And I said, no, I think this is cool. I'm going to buy this. And I bought a pristine copy of Ultimate Fallout 4 for $18 a decade ago.
I'll get in touch with you, Kyle.
And,
I was about to say, I found 2 copies at Richards in the polybag still.
Yep.
And he wanted 10 apiece for them. And I passed on both of them, and I kicked myself to this day. I was like, you could have had one to keep and one to sell. Like,
this one was polybagged when I got it. I recently surgically extracted it from the polybag because they really shouldn't stay in them. But I can't find. I mean, I'm no professional grader, and neither are the people at CGC sometimes. But I'm no professional grader, but I can't find a flaw in this book. I haven't touched it to open the interior, but exterior.
I was about to say, you want to look at the back because the crease from the polybag that it came in will imprint on the back. But if you get it pressed normally, if it's not too bad, they can press it out.
Yeah. Even if it's a even if it's like an 8.85, it's still like it's $1,000 book right now.
Yeah, it's worth way more than what you paid for it.
Yeah, way more. I'm gonna get into slabs real quick. This is the worst slab in my collection. It is my first.
Here you go.
It's my first slab, right? Okay. So when I first got into collecting, I was just like suffering from major like allure syndrome where I just wanted to own things. To me, if a comic book was worth like $20, it was like, this is cool. Oh, they'll appreciate one day, blah, blah, blah. And I bought up all kinds of crap that was just going for like not a lot of money. Or it was like speculation, but it's like not good speculation. It's the kind of speculation where everybody is, saying this is going to be big. You need to get it. Bought a second print of Ultimate 4 for my grandson for I think he said $4. That's a good deal.
Mhm.
The second print definitely goes for good money too. Um, when Walking Dead took off, Kirkman started a second series called Outcast, and it very briefly became a TV show.
Mhm.
And when it did, those first issues started going up really high, really fast, and then the show wasn't good, and it got canceled, and they plummeted. I didn't know anything. I just knew like this is my chance to get something graded because I had an Outcast #1. I was going to Comic-Con where Paul Azaceta was going to be there, and I said, "Hey, I'll meet him. I'll get him to sign this thing and send it off to CGC, and it'll be cool." Well, first off, it came back a 9.0, which is just unacceptable for a modern grade, modern tier. It's got to be 9.8, or it's really never going to be like an investment grade book. And I just didn't know what I was doing. And I actually was even stoked when it came back as a 9.0 because it's like, heck yeah, 9 out of 10 is pretty good. It's like an A, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. No, this book is worth way, way less than I've invested into it because not being a CJC member, getting to pay for the signature, pay to have it graded, pay for the book, which was already like $30.
Mhm.
I think this book is worth like $10 in a 9.0 graded. So I keep it as a lesson. I mean, not that I could sell it, like who in the world would want to buy this, but if I could sell it, I wouldn't because it's a lesson. It's a first book, a first graded key, and I've done some stupid things since that I also have. Um, I have in my collection the lowest graded copy of X-Men 129 that exists in a 3.5. This one's autographed by Chris Claremont in 2018. Man, that glare is terrible. I'll try to reduce it, but um, I think this book is cool. Like I said, my other 129 is signed by Stan Lee. This one is much lower grade, but it is actually the lowest graded signature series X-Men 129 that exists. So I think it's cool for that reason. Um, that same convention, I met Scotty Young and got my copy of What If Venom Possessed Deadpool
Oh, nice.
autographed by him. I am bummed it came back in 8.5. I didn't have graders notes because I wasn't a member or anything. I would love to know what made this an 8.5. There's no blotching on any of the white. There's nothing missing from it. Corners are really sharp. Um, I really don't know what would make this an 8.5, but I don't know if you can resubmit it and ask for a regrade since it's been signed or not. I've got to kind of figure out how that works, but I would like to, yeah, because the worst things were for it comes back a 9.8 with a green label, and you're like, wait a minute, no, that's not
No,
what I
no,
wanted.
no, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted.
Put the gold label back on.
But
I'll
that's
take
how we
the I'll
felt.
take the 8.5.
But that's how we felt that day, David. That's
Yeah.
how we felt that day here at CGC. That's the grade you're getting.
And I like to not be like that, but I've seen it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I love that book. I had the chance to buy that book when I was working at Mr. K's. Shout out Mr. K's in Greenville if you know them. They sell everything used, including comic books. Somebody brought that in.
I do not. I need to go by there. I have not
Okay.
been there.
Yeah, that's a cool little shop. It's like completely non-electronic. They everything is just priced by hand. They have no computer system, no barcodes or anything. It's a cool shop. They do records, books, DVDs, Blu-ray, comics, video game systems.
So it's kind of like Second Charles.
Yeah, it's like Second and Charles, but it's older and it's a lot more. What's the word? It's way less corporate. Everything
Yeah.
is super curated in there. But but had the chance to buy that book for like $60 at one point, and I would have had an employee discount. Passed on it. Somebody bought it like the day it got put out on the shelf because it was a big book at the time. I eventually got another one off of Reddit actually, and that's the one that I had signed. But I want to get that, see if I can do something about that grade. Um, I'm not really a variant guy. I don't really just buy into the variant game, getting graded variants. I know that's something that people do, but they almost always go down in value, right? I mean, very rarely do a variant, appreciate. They usually depreciate. I only
Yeah.
buy them if I think they're really cool, just for the sake of wall hangers. Um, and I will sometimes get them graded because I actually think graded variants look cooler as a wall hanger.
Yeah.
I just understand that it's not an investment piece. This is just straight up wanting to keep it looking nice. So this is the Ten of Swords. It's X of Swords, but it's pronounced Ten of Swords. Creation number 1. This is Peach Momoko Virgin
Oh yeah.
variant. Really cool magic on a field of skulls watercolor. Just really, really sick art. And she had a big year last year.
Yeah.
All of her variants.
Some of her stuff I didn't like, but then some of it was completely incredible. I was like, I don't like, it's literally 50-50. It's like one book I
Yeah.
see of hers and I'm like, eh. And then another one I see and I'm like, that's awesome. How did she even do that?
Same. If she's doing horror, it's awesome. If she's doing that like chibi thing she does, I'm not into. Like it's cool, but it's not my style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Did you get the Predator cover that came out?
I didn't. I don't really do Predator. I've never really been into him.
The Predator cover she did was incredible. A, it's an homage. B, it's in watercolor.
What's it homage to?
It's an homage to the other Predator cover. That's
Oh, okay.
like just the face.
Yeah. Okay. The one that's like a close up.
Yeah.
I know that
It's
one.
it's really nice. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen her do.
Cool.
What's up, Wong? How are you doing?
Classic. I'm a '90s kid. Okay.
Yep.
Here's my chance to get the this is reclamation of childhood right here. X-Men 11 9.8. It's not the most expensive book in the world. It's like $150 book, but I liked the banner on it. I liked the Wolverine label, and this is just a sick cover. If you're gonna get this, I feel like I had to go for a 9.8. There was no reason not to. This was actually a birthday present, but not the most impressive book, but just I think this is one of those books that's going to stand the test of time. Something people will always want. Just a cool book. Kind of in the same vein. Marvel Comics presents number 72, the first origin of Weapon X. This is something I had as a shirt in high school, and always said I would like find this someday and get the book. And I did. 9.2 was kind of a lower grade than I wanted to go on this book, but I went for it because it's hard to find the newsstands, and this one's a newsstand. So I was stoked to get a 9.2 newsstand. I'll probably still buy a 9.8 as well, but I do like this book. This is one of the sickest X-Men covers there is. Really, probably one of the coolest Wolverine covers there is. All right, got a few more here. Miss Marvel 16 in a 9.2. This is the first cameo of Mystique.
Okay.
Really cool octopus cover. This again was like a birthday present a couple years ago.
That's going to be a book that I have in my collection just because I want, like, the first appearance of Sabretooth is in an Iron Fist book. So I'm going to have to I want to get that, and it'll be like the only Iron Fist book that's in my collection. And
that's how it is too. I've never read a Miss Marvel comic. I just have that because of her
first appearance.
Yeah.
That's the way it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I was collecting Avengers anyway, but when I got an Avengers 10, the reason I got it is because I'm a huge Rogue fan.
I'm holding out. I want a 9.8. That book.
That's probably an 8.5.
That's good. That's
I
good.
paid $30 for it.
Yeah, back in the day, before people started speculating that she was going to be cast soon, now they're super high. I think like the
What's the matter, Beef? You don't have any, was it Vegemite? Isn't that what y'all eat? Or is that just Australia?
I think
you're good. Continue.
Yeah. I think a 9.8 for that book now goes for like $675 if it's not a newsstand. I mean,
Ridiculous.
I'll eventually get one. Another book I always wanted. Your camera went out if you didn't do that intentionally, just to let
I
you
did
know.
that intentionally.
That's cool.
I'm having cat difficulties right now.
I definitely locked mine in the basement so that he couldn't come up here and do his thing. But he
is all over me today. I don't know what he wants. He's already been fed. He can't love me this much.
Definitely not. Cats don't love. They just they appreciate, but they don't love.
Yeah.
X-Men 101, 5.5. This book exploded recently. I wanted to get a much nicer copy, but I had this one available and snatched it up just in case, so I'm still sitting on it. Love the cover.
Well, if you ever want to upgrade, you just let me know.
What you got?
I'll take that one off your hands.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, to be honest, I will eventually upgrade. This is a book that I definitely want to try and get towards the 9. Maybe 9.8's a little bit too much, but I do want to try and get to the 9 on that. All right, this is a cool book. It's another alternate Spider-Man book back from when Spider-Man stopped being Peter Parker all the time, and they had all these alternate versions. This is an Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, 9.4. This is signed by and sketched by Jason Latour. You see, he turns his signature into a little Spider-Gwen. It's a cool little piece. This was a book that just took off. Like, I remember seeing this for like $20 and just being like, no, I'm not going to get that. I bought in when it was like $100, and now like a 9.4. I was looking it up.
That stuff came out when all the Spider-Verse stuff was happening, and I was pulling, and everybody at Richards was like, so I'm putting you down for all the tie-ins and the individual books and stuff, right? And I was like, no, just the ASM stuff. And they're like, are you sure? Because there's going to be a lot of first appearances in these new books coming out. And I was like, nah, I'll be all right.
Yeah, that's a cool little run. So first off, that run is just objectively good. I think that the story's really good. I like the callback from like J. Michael Straczynski's like Morlun saga.
Yeah.
Bringing or Morlun, however you say it, bringing Morlun back and having the interdimensional thing was really cool for a while. There's some cool Spider-Man. Obviously, it ultimately led up to the Spider-Verse movie, which was a really cool movie. But yeah, I have Miles. I have Spider-Gwen. I just got to get my first appearance of Peter Parker at some point. We'll make it happen. Maybe I'll find one in a garage somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's a cool run. That's also fun fact. The robot spider, I forget her name, but like the one that's like a robot. It's in the Spider-Verse movie. It's like piloted. Yeah, it's like piloted by a small Japanese girl, and it's like a mech suit.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
I have that one as well. That's from Edge of Spider-Verse 5, but that is the first Marvel comic written by Gerard Way, the frontman from My Chemical Romance. Like that brought him in. So yeah, he gets royalties on all that. He created the mech suit Spider-Man, which is pretty cool. Fun fact. I have that book. I've seen him several times because I'm a fan of that band and seen him in concert, but I've never seen him at a con to get him to sign it or anything. But one day.
Has he done cons? He's had to have done them by now.
Yeah, he was at North Carolina Comic-Con like the year before last when Umbrella Academy got picked up, Netflix. I don't have Marvel Tales #1, First Peter Parker. That is one that's on the list. I do have the first Silk. I have first Spinneret.
I literally sold last year. I sold my whole run. I have 1 through 17, so I had like all the ASM, and I sold that whole run on an auction, so I could just buy more books. And I threw it into my Web of Spider-Man. I bought some Spawn back issues, and I bought some Walking Dead stuff. So I was like, you know what? I don't read them. They're worth the money. I bought them for cover, less than cover, because you get a discount on your pull at Richards and at Borderlands and at most of the shops around here.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll totally do that. So
Did you get good money for the Spider Gwen one?
the Spider Gwen one I didn't have
Oh,
because I
okay.
didn't buy any of the Titan, so I didn't buy any of that stuff. I had the first Silk, and it went for basically 160 by itself, and then I
Yeah.
started adding in other books in the series, and I think the whole lot ended up selling for like that lot with just the main series, just the ASM stuff minus the Spider Verse run of like 5 issues that was in it. That went for like 3, and then I sold the Spider Verse issues for like 80, or
Okay.
no, it was like 50. And so I just turned around and bought a whole bunch of other books with it.
Yeah, right on. I paid 100 for my Edge of Spider Verse 2, like right before it took off.
Yeah,
Um, Silk, I paid $10 for that. I found that in a back issue bin at like a Second and Charles. Yeah. Um,
you'll be all right, Kyle. Run it, Kyle. Run it up against me. It'll be okay. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
um, Kind of getting to the crown jewels in my collection at this point. Well, they're not crown jewels, but Uncanny 266 Gambit. It's an 8.0, but it is signed by Chris Claremont.
Yeah.
Love this book. Paid $30 for this book back in the
What?
day. So can't beat it. Iconic cover. Um, Not much else to say about that book. Okay, now we're getting into some really good stuff. So this is X-Men 50 in an 8.0.
Oh, snap.
This is signed
Neil
by Jim
Adams.
Steranko. He
Or no,
signed
wait,
it.
yeah, that's Durango? Yeah, that is
Yep,
Durango.
green marker. I met him at Heroes Con in 2018 because it tells me the day I met him. 2018, I met Steranko, and let me just tell you, if you want to talk to somebody, his line, I was like 3 people back in his line, and it took 30 minutes to get to the man because he
Yep.
does not stop talking, which is fine.
Nope.
It's great. But he told me the
Neil Adams
story.
is the same way.
Yeah. When I told him this, when I gave him this book to sign, he was like, "I'm gonna do you something special. I'm gonna sign this in green so it pops." The CGC witness, just had to want to die. He just had to sit there through the whole conversation waiting on this guy to sign the book. And he also told the story about how this is the first appearance of the X-Men logo. If you look at issue 49, this logo is not here. It's the old school style that looks like that.
Yeah.
And so he designed that, and he said they didn't pay him because they didn't commission him to do it. He just did it because he thought it looked nice and put it on the book. And they made it the mainstay logo and never paid him because they didn't ask him to do it.
Lesson out there to all upcoming artists. Do what you're paid for.
Yes. Yes.
If you're gonna add something extra, make sure you add it to the price tag.
Well, he got what every artist gets offered. They paid Jim Steranko an exposure for that
That's
for
true.
that logo. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
God. Now you triggered my musician thing.
I
Pay
know.
you an exposure.
I know.
Yeah.
Exposure to money, right?
Yeah. Exposure to money. Right?
Expose my bank account to money. Yeah. Like I said, this is probably up there for the coolest X-Men covers that there are. I might be able to turn my computer and reduce some of this glare. There we
Oh
go.
wow, there you go. That
Found
would
the sweet spot. I paid $90 for this book many years ago. It's a lot. It's worth a lot more than that now.
Oh yeah.
The Steranko signature on it is big too. This is one of my biggest success stories as far as like buying it versus what it's worth now. I'm not going to give away the book quite yet, but back in the day, I had a Grail that I said was a book I wanted more than any other book. It was the creme de la creme, what I wanted. I walk into Borderlands, and it's sitting there with a price tag of $350 on it. I was a poor grad student at the time, like no money at all, but I knew I could afford it. So the first thing I do is I go to the back of the store and I just like get on my calculator with my bank account and like if I eat nothing but ramen for this week and bounce this, bounce that, like can I physically walk out of here with this book today? And I was like, it is close. It's not happening. So then I asked him, I said, Rob, does the 10% discount apply to this for my back, for my pull? He's like, yeah, it does. So there's $35 right there.
Yeah.
And then I said, hold on, I'll be right back. And I went out to my car and I found in the floorboard this promotional coupon for the store that I'd gotten at like I think it was one of those things where they like came to like a midnight premiere of a Marvel movie and gave out coupons for the store or something like
Yeah.
that. Okay, it was a promo coupon that I just thrown in my car, and it was in my floorboard, and I found it, and it wasn't expired, and it said 20% off any one item in the store. And I said, Rob, this is any one item in the store. You know that. You got to let me do it. And he looked at me with the like this look like, you kidding me, right? And he said, this it was Christmas Eve also that I did this. And he looks at me and goes, ah, hell, you're in here all the time. Merry Christmas, I'll do it. And so I took it home for $275. And it is Giant Size X-Men #1 in a
Nice.
3.5. I think it's pressable. I'm not super huge on pressing. I've not done it, and I've heard that some of these big giant size books can deform further from pressing, so I haven't done it. Need to talk to somebody who's more of an expert. But at the time, Colossus was my favorite comic book hero, and this is
They
his
do it
first
at Borderlands.
appearance. Do they?
There's a guy who works for Borderlands who does all the pressing for the shop. And
Okay.
he does work too. I don't know his
Gotcha.
name, but I know he works there.
Okay, that's cool. Um, yeah, first Storm, first Colossus, first Nightcrawler, second full Wolverine. So I have my first cameo Wolverine. I have a second full Wolverine. I just see my 181. Not much to say about this book other than this is one of the coolest books to ever
Yeah, that's
grace.
like one of the biggest. Like to me, that's like up there with like AF-15 and ASM-1 and
Yeah, it's a blue chip key, you
Marvel
know?
Comics 1, and yeah, it's like right up there with all those keys.
Yeah. Um, I said that was my creme de la creme, holy grail. Need that. I'll get that and I'll be happy. It doesn't work that way.
No,
I bought that and I said it's just not enough. I need an X-Men 1. Pipe dream. Never gonna happen. Never gonna
never
happen.
gonna happen. No,
Too
you won't find one around here.
too expensive. Looking at them, and I just knew it could never happen. I was just gonna have to be happy with my Giant Size X-Men #1, and so Giant Size X-Men #1 was acquired. My holy grail became X-Men 1, but it was one of those things where like I was just gonna like go to garage sales and maybe one day you get it, or like you
Yeah,
see these Reddit posts or somebody who got it at Goodwill in a long box kind of thing, and they
yeah,
didn't know what it was, and started hearing all these rumors about X-Men and the MCU, and I'm looking at the prices for the book, and I'm like, man, a 1.0 is like a $2,500 book,
hmm
and that's unattainable. I just can't realistically do that. Um, but I also kind of thought like we're on the cusp. If you go back and look at all the blue chips, Spider-Man, um, first Iron Man, first Thor, first Hulk, when they became mainstays in those movies, they just went up and they went up fast. And I started crunching numbers from a data perspective and realized that like this is probably going to double the second they show up on screen. And I said, God, I just got to find a way to get one. 2,500 was undoable. I wasn't willing to do a point 0.5. I didn't think a point 0.5 was something. It's not really complete. Just something OCD in me said like that's
yeah.
not the book. You don't have the book. You have some of it, but you don't have the book. So I wasn't willing to do a 0.5. I came across a 1.0 for a little over $3,000, and I said I can't do that. That's over fair market value right now. like way over. It's like a $2,000, $2,500 book, and this was like 3.5K. Like, can't do it, no way, way over market. And I kind of got into my data set mind again, and I said, well, am I being stupid? If this book is worth 2K today, and I'm getting hung up on 3.5K, never end up getting one, and it becomes worth 6K, and
Yeah.
I can't buy it. I was a fool. Um, so I made it happen. This is my best book in my collection. This is my X-Men #1. It is just beat to hell. Let's see if we can get some good. There's tape going across Jean Grey's face. Her face is ripped in half. There you go. Can you see the hole up here by the 12 cent? Like right there.
Oh, yeah. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah. You can look through it. Like I sometimes I will. Like if I'm just messing around, I'll take it out and I'll just like look at people through the
So
hole. It has.
that someone punched in it?
Yeah, it was a binder copy from back in the day. If you're familiar with those, where people would take runs and punch them and put them in a binder to make their own omnibuses. Yeah, it is barely hanging on, especially down here. It's frail. It's brittle. There's actually a couple spots. I don't think it's going to show up on camera. There's actually a couple spots up here where there's a little loose fragments floating around inside the well where it's super brittle. But don't care. It's an X-Men 1, and I was correct. It is worth way more than what I invested in it at this point. So I feel like I end my collection tour on that note, except to say, just like I said, if I got giant size, I'd be happy. And then I said, okay, well, if I get X-Men 1, I'll be happy. I've had X-Men 1 for 2 years now. And
what's next?
181.
181?
Hulk 181. I've bought it once. Like I said, I drunkenly bought it and returned it. We'll buy it and keep it this time. That's the next thing. That's my Marvel Grail is Hulk 181. It would be AF-15, but it truly seems not obtainable for me.
They're unless you're just way well off than I am, they're unattainable as far as buying it in cash. You can always take out a loan to get it, but then you're betting that the book's going to be worth more, which it is. But
yeah, it's one of the few that's never depreciated. That one, 181 as well. X-Men 1 has depreciated. There was a time where that book hit like 10K and then cooled back down to about the 6-7 mark. But yeah, AF-15. Maybe Cap 1, they've never gone down, and 181 have never gone down.
Avengers, I don't think they've ever gone down.
Yeah, I would say like year over year, if you look at historical data, they've never had a down year, even through recessions. It's kind of rare for a lot of books, but
look, we're debating live on camera about like which books to get.
Oh yeah, man, 181, and then actually, are you familiar with Black Cat Mystery 50?
Doesn't sound familiar. What is it?
It's a pre-code horror book.
Okay.
And it's
I'm not huge on pre-code horror. I've started looking into getting it, but
you should look up the cover to Black Cat Mystery 50. It is insane that it's from the 50s.
I guarantee you, Kyle, who's in the chat, Sobernight Kyle, I guarantee you he's got 2 of them.
Kyle, do you have a Black Cat Mystery 50?
I bet you he does. Bet you he does. He probably went to go do his live stream, but
okay.
Well, he did,
you may know it. You may know it by cover if you don't know it by name. It's the one where the like piece of radium is flying in, and the guy's like doing like that, and the radium is like in between his hands, and his face is melting off, and his hands are melting off.
Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Okay.
It's I check them every week just to see if any come for sale. And there is a
here we go.
Okay, Marvel 1. It's a big one.
And K-pop said he probably has them signed. I was about to say, give him a second. He's probably either looking or he's typing an answer now.
Just say if you have a Black Cat Mystery 50, hit me up. We'll make a deal. But yeah, the 3.0 restored label, $6,000.
If Dope's still listening, he might have one as well. They're trying to get me into pre-code horror, and it's kind of working, which is kind of going to suck for my wallet.
Yeah, those are expensive books. You know, I think the guy who wrote the book, what is it, The Seduction of the Innocent or whatever, that caused the code to come out. I think he might be the guy that invented bran flakes, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right.
He was definitely weird. He wanted to make a food that would like yield no pleasure.
Don't have Black Cat 50, but I know a few people who have them in the stacks and might well trade. Check with Alex the Comic Hoarder. Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel as well. You can probably find him on Instagram, maybe Facebook. I think on Facebook. But Alex the Comic Hoarder, he's got older stuff and he's always buying and selling. So yeah,
that's cool.
That's a good tip. I've known Alex for a long time.
You're talking about trading. I will say this. Every book in here was bought. I don't do trades. I'm too much of I get sentimentally attached to them. I know people say let the hobby fund itself. That is the right answer, but I can't do it. I buy them.
I buy them and I usually keep them.
Yep, I can't trade them out.
But I usually keep them.
It would take a lot. There's times where I've considered like just wanting to have like the best X-Men collection I could possibly have, and yeah, X-Men #1 selling for $9,000 right now. Yep, that was the plan. I thought like its fair market value is currently here, and it's being priced here, and I'm getting hung up on that. But a year from now, is the fair market value going to be here? And I just completely missed the gun, and so I did it. It wasn't easy.
Books like that is those books that are going to be in my collection until I'm old or have no choice.
Yeah,
like one or the other. So those are like long-term investments for me because they're not going anywhere. Like my ASM is never going anywhere. My X-Men is probably never going anywhere. My Walking Dead is probably never going anywhere. There's some stuff that I was like, yeah, one day I'll probably get rid of it.
Yeah, maybe to pay for a child's school or something. That's the cliche, but you never know. But
kids' college fund.
Yep. But I like the idea of just. I'm a serial collector. I collect vinyl as well. I didn't show any of it because I don't think I have anything that's like worth showing. But I collect like punk, hardcore, emo, metalcore records. I collect Marvel Legends, X-Men action figures. I was
about to say, if you want to do a part 2, just let me know.
Yeah, I got a couple $1,000s worth of Marvel Legends action figures, but they're not worth anything individually. I just have a cool collection of them. And the weirdest thing I collect is I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually an entomologist. I work as an entomologist for a large pest control company. I went to grad school and got a master's in it, and so I'm a big insect buff. I collect insects like crazy. I have cabinets and cabinets full of museum quality preserved insect specimens that I've collected. So I just collect all kinds of stuff. Just kind of runs in my blood.
Mm-hmm. And it's really cool because if you follow him on Facebook, he's always posting up pictures while he's at work of something like that. He's like some bug that's like, some of them I think are rare as crap. I don't know, but they look cool. So
it's cool to see them under a microscope because like the average person doesn't own or have access to a microscope. I don't have a WITA because all of my insects are they're collected. I don't buy insects off the internet like some people do. I only do stuff I collect, and WITAs can't be gotten outside of New Zealand. So and I've never been to New Zealand, and actually New Zealand has very strict laws for smuggling insects out. I have smuggled insects out of other countries before in shampoo bottles and stuff like that, but I would not do it at New Zealand. They will light you up.
So, pro tip there for you.
I have friends who take police buy-off money. Like they'll go to Africa for a study and take personal stuff back, and you just literally have to give guards at the airport $100 bill, and they'll just have a nice day, sir.
Yep. Bye.
To get your stuff out of here, you know. But
get out.
Cool. That's cool.
So yeah.
Well, that's the collection, man. I'll talk all day about anything you want to talk about, but I don't want to hold people hostage
No,
either.
that's about 1 hour and 15. That's one of
Yeah.
that's the second longest one we've done. And like I said, since you said records and toys, we can do a part 2 where you do records and toys and stuff like that. So yeah,
I'm around.
there's a few people that are already wanting to re-sign up. It's really cool.
Cool.
So but I appreciate you coming on. Go check out his info. Let me real quick.
Yeah, go check out Psycho Psycho on Spotify. I think it's if you type in Psycho Psycho on Spotify, it comes up. The picture is a vampire. That's the most recent EP. Another one coming out next week. If you like what you hear, we get rowdy. So come see a show if you're local, or if you're not, fly in. I don't know. Do your thing.
Vacation.
Just to see Psycho Psycho.
I'm going to get this out the way as soon as this loads up. I'm going to drop the link to the Facebook in the chat.
Sweet.
That way, if you want to look them up on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, if not, you can literally just, is it going to let me do it? It's not going to let me do it.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
There we go.
So,
Everybody who came through and asked me questions, I love the questions. I love the stories.
you got off light. I was expecting so many more questions. Y'all know y'all can chime in at any time.
Keep them coming. I'll answer them.
Yeah.
People, I like the question about my guitar.
Now that they know part 2, I guarantee you, I'll literally be like asking you questions the whole time we do this.
Yeah.
So appreciate the 10 people we have watching now. To anybody who watches in the future, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series. I plan on keeping on doing it. It's really cool. It's really fun. I like it. So appreciate everybody for watching. Keep watching my channel for updates on new videos coming up. There's also a link now on my YouTube page in the description for merch. I have merch. So if you feel so inclined, we have trucker hats, and you need a Tylox the Mighty trucker hat because it just goes good with your mullet.
Heck yeah.
It's stable. So yeah, definitely. And go vote for me for CBCA award for best hair. I would greatly appreciate your votes. And that's about it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll end it before he tries to break whatever he's trying to break over there. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good weekend. I will see you all later. Peace.